Today's vlogcast is an episode where I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the Garden of Eden. Enjoy videos of my recent trip to Florida, where I was surrounded by God's magnificent nature 24/7. For years, I've been infatuated with the Garden of Eden. As someone who grew up helping my mother in the garden and now becoming a plant enthusiast, I can't help but imagine how it looked. What did the trees look like? And what type of fruit did each tree have? It was probably the most delicious fruit ever. How was the water? Was it crystal clear with different kinds of beautiful fish? How big was the garden? How fast did the vegetation grow? What was the relationship like between Adam and the animals? I think about these things and it truly excites me. But one of my favorite aspects about the Garden of Eden is that's where Adam and Eve met. The first husband and wife. They were able to enjoy the Garden of Eden all to themselves and live harmoniously with God. They literally walked with God. The beauty of that time is something that our human brains right now could not fathom. And before God gave Adam his wife, Eve, he gave him a mission to tend the garden. God put Adam in the garden to do work. I hear many people say that work wasn't meant for us, and that work was a curse given to us after the fall, where sin entered the earth, but that's not what Genesis says. The Bible clearly states in Genesis 2:15 that God wanted Adam to work. It states, "Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it." Adam was a gardener. The first human that God created was a gardener, which I love. Once sin entered the world, the ground became cursed and they were kicked out of the garden. And that's the distinction. Work became hard work after the fall, but God's will was for us to work and be fulfilled in the work that we did. I wonder if sin never entered the world, would we have all lived naked and tending to our own gardens? I don't know. God clearly has a desire for us to help our husbands with work as well. You can also see this in Genesis because he created Eve to help Adam in his mission and tend the beautiful earth that he created. Adam was working alone and God saw that it wasn't good. It was the only thing that he saw that wasn't good after everything he created. After looking through all of the animals that God had created, there was nobody that was fit to be a helper for Adam. So he created Eve as his helpmate. In this instance, it makes so much sense why men and women are very different. Before God created Eve, he created Adam's mission, which was to tend the garden. He didn't give Eve that same mission. Eve was created for Adam to be his helper. And in 1 Corinthians 11:9, it states this, "Nor was man created for the woman, but woman for the man," which is saying that women were literally created for men, which is, I know, weird to think about, but it's actually a beautiful thing. So Adam was made with the mission to tend the garden, and Eve was created with the mission to help her husband tend the garden. See the distinction? From the beginning, God created roles for the man and woman, which is really interesting. Another thing is, I wonder how the first interaction was between Adam and Eve. I mean, the first time they saw each other, they were both naked and perfect. I'm sure Eve was beautiful and Adam probably fell in love with her instantly. And I love that God said right after they got married that a man must leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife and they become one flesh. This really just sets the tone about how our marriage is more important than any other relationship outside of our relationship with God. Your spouse comes first before anybody, and God made that clear right when they joined and became one. Another aspect that intrigues me is that we were created from the dust. God created Adam from earth, and he created Eve from Adam. It makes so much sense why we feel so much peace when we're surrounded by earth. It makes sense how we're so intrigued and feel so calm when we see the amazing things that God created for us to enjoy. I grew up in a small town where all I told myself growing up was that I wanted to live in the city. I hated how quiet it was at times and wished I grew up in a larger high school. Now that I live in a big city, all I tell myself is that I want to be surrounded by nature. I realized that the concrete jungle wasn't really made for me. I look forward to the days where I can buy land and live in tranquility with trees and flowers around me, children running around, and no cars racing by the home. I feel at peace when I'm surrounded by God's creation. This is a big aspect of why I love to garden and why I love that God had Adam and Eve tend to the Garden of Eden. I have so many other thoughts about the Garden of Eden, but I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching until the end of this vlogcast, episode 2. If you enjoyed this episode, please like the video because it helps my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!